The courage to break free from mediocrity, awaken your inner greatness from a young age. Lucas was born in a small town in the countryside, a place that once lived peaceful days, but now, in many areas, shows challenges and even hostility. Like many others, he moved to the big city over 50 years ago, chasing dreams and opportunities, leaving his roots behind. Back then, going out alone at night to return home was an act filled with fear and respect for safety. Hearing footsteps behind or feeling someone's presence on the path was enough to alert the heart and be thankful for not being vulnerable. The world seemed bigger, but also more insecure. Over time, Lucas and his contemporaries got used to living with that fear, but they didn't let it paralyze them. Life imposed limits and routines, and many began to accept it as what it is, as an answer to everything. Mediocrity, invisible, slowly became a reference. It is essential that the new generation, now more connected to knowledge and the world, does not fall into this trap. Fear and complacency cannot be the destiny of those who have bigger dreams. To break free, courage and an incessant will to overcome are necessary. When we face the past, we understand that old fears cannot define the future. Mediocrity is not a natural condition, but a choice. The challenge is to let go of fear, find inner strength, and believe that more is possible, much more. Today, amid this constant transformation of the world, a new generation emerges with a different sparkle in their eyes. Young people like Anna, who at 19, while preparing for college, reject mediocrity as a life standard. Anna represents a group that values their origins and seeks in their roots a solid identity, yet without ceasing to explore broad horizons. Traveling, studying, and experiencing different cultures and realities are tools to expand consciousness, not to escape the present. This generation knows they cannot simply accept more of the same. They question, create, and challenge themselves to leave a real mark on society. That's why many young people return to their origins to understand where they came from and prepare for where they want to go. Moreover, they are aware of the volatility of today's world, the speed of information, and superficial relationships. They know that to live with purpose, it takes more than just being connected. It requires attention to what truly matters. Thus, breaking with the past does not mean abandoning history, but using it as fuel to project a life worth living, full of meaning and with a clear vision of the future. In a scenario filled with digital distractions and fast relationships, where everything seems urgent and little really matters, building a solid purpose is an act of resistance. Carlos, a retired professor who travels Brazil giving lectures and sharing his experience, knows this very well. He lives in constant movement but never loses focus on the essential, the search for meaning. Carlos reminds us that most people live putting out daily fires, concerned with the urgent, leaving the important for later or never. This is an invitation to mediocrity, living on autopilot without reflecting on true priorities. Having a purpose is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It guides us when the world around seems chaotic. It keeps us steady when external judgments and criticisms come, often from where least expected. More than that, purpose is the compass that makes us invest energy and time in what truly brings growth and lasting happiness. It is the weapon against superficiality. Therefore, as Carlos insists, we need to learn to look beyond the immediate, understand the difference between urgent and important, and cultivate habits that nourish our soul and drive us to act with excellence. Amid so many transformations, one thing remains constant: the impact of human relationships on our personal growth. Pedro, a young adult living with his parents and seeking his place in the professional world, faces daily challenges in this dynamic. He knows that, in the digital world, constant exposure generates instant and often unfair judgments. Every word, every attitude, is judged by thousands, and the feeling of being watched creates huge pressure. But Pedro also understands that this surveillance cannot define his identity. He must strengthen himself internally to filter what deserves his attention, without being shaken by the virtual court that is as relentless as it is unfair. Additionally, family and social relationships require more dialogue and less judgment. Respect, active listening, and empathy are indispensable tools to create environments that encourage growth rather than stagnation. In this context, we are all responsible for the space we build around us, whether in the real or digital world. We must choose to contribute to environments that uplift and inspire, not diminish and weaken. Pedro learned that maturity is not just about age, but about the ability to manage these relationships with balance, authenticity, and the courage to be who he really is. Today, we see curious trends: the revival of the old amid modernity, like the return of classic shaving or artisanal production in times of industrialization. Juliana, a young entrepreneur, observes this search for authenticity as a natural response to the fast and sometimes superficial pace of contemporary life. She understands that, for many, being authentic is a form of resistance against mediocrity, a way to affirm that value lies in effort, dedication, and the truth of every gesture. Juliana shows that the new does not need to erase the old, but that the balance between tradition and innovation can be the formula for a full life. In this movement, true success lies in not settling, not accepting the pattern of ease, but creating something genuine that makes sense. Thus, every choice, no matter how simple it seems, can be a manifesto against conformity, an invitation to awaken the dormant potential inside each one. Finally, we come to the reflection that Miguel's grandfather, a wise and simple man, always made to his grandchildren. What are your plans for the future? This seemingly simple question carries enormous depth. It is a daily call to think about where we want to go and how we wish to live. Miguel, like many other young people, sometimes feels the pressure to enjoy the present, but has learned that the present alone is not enough, is necessary to align today with tomorrow. He understands that life is short, but time is an ally when used wisely. Building a legacy is cultivating values, dreams, and attitudes that transcend the moment. In the end, true wealth is not immaterial accumulation, but in the consistency of character, the positive impact we leave, and the courage not to accept mediocrity. And it is precisely this courage that I want to invite you to awaken now. Mediocrity is not an inevitable sentence, but a daily choice. It arises from fear, complacency, and lack of purpose. Throughout life, we face countless challenges that try to silence us, make us believe that the ordinary is enough. But, as we saw in the stories of Lucas, Ana, Carlos, Pedro, Juliana, and Miguel, it is possible to break this cycle. It takes courage to face fears, wisdom to value what truly matters, and discipline to build a meaningful life. Don't let the world tell you who you should be. Choose to be your best version, fight for your growth, and inspire those who walk beside you. If you feel ready to abandon mediocrity and live with purpose, start today. Reflect on your goals, strengthen your relationships, and seek knowledge and self-awareness daily. Share this text with someone who needs this encouragement, and join a community that values growth, authenticity, and true transformation. And if you want, count on me to walk beside you on this journey. What is your next step to live an extraordinary life? Let's go together.